All right, let's dive into a story that's part corporate horror film, part comeback of the century. We're talking about a company on the brink of collapse and the incredible turnaround that saved it. But here's the thing, this isn't just a fascinating story, it's a genuine playbook, right? A blueprint for any of us who might find ourselves staring down a crisis, showing how you can turn the absolute worst of times into a massive competitive edge. Okay, get this. $100 million. That's the amount of revenue a global logistics giant lost in just a few months. Think about that for a second. This company was a behemoth, right? Seemingly untouchable. And then, bam, revenue gets sliced in half. This wasn't some tiny little dip, you guys. It was a $100 million free fall. The phones are ringing off the hook. It's panicked lenders. Lifelong clients, they're running for the exits. This wasn't just a small fire to put out. No, no. This was a full-blown inferno. So, in a situation this bad, what do? Well, the last thing you need is some slick consultant walking in with a fancy PowerPoint deck telling you things you already know, right? No. They needed a field commander. They needed someone who could actually roll up their sleeves, get their hands dirty, and lead from the trenches. That's what this quote is all about. So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the free fall itself. Then the financial triage, the emergency surgery. After that, rebuilding trust and sales. And of course, anchoring a whole new culture. And at the end, we'll pull it all together into a solid blueprint. So yeah, buckle up. We are about to unpack a masterclass in crisis management. All right, section 1, a company in free fall. You gotta ask, right? How does a company with a great reputation suddenly find itself teetering on the edge of oblivion? Let's dig in. Just look at this chart. It tells the story right there. That huge drop from 200 million down to 100 million, you'd think it was some big internal screw-up, wouldn't you? But no, this was an external shock. It was like a geopolitical earthquake that hit their most important markets. And the result? Their biggest clients just stopped shipping, practically overnight.
So what did the company do? Well, they went into full-on firefighting mode. But it was chaos, just a frenzy of activity with no real direction. They were scrambling, plugging one hole just as another one opened up, pushing back payments, desperately trying to renegotiate contracts. But the problem was there was no actual strategy, no plan, no guiding light to get them through the storm.
And that brings us to the next absolutely critical phase. Before you can even think about rebuilding, you have to stop the bleeding. It's time for some serious financial triage.
And believe me, this wasn't some slow, careful walk through the financials. This was a high-speed, high-stakes surgical operation. Step 1, be completely radically transparent with the lenders. Show them everything. Step 2, use that brutal honesty to win back their confidence. And step 3, with that trust rebuilt, you refinance the entire debt structure. And get this, they did it all in just 6 weeks. 6 weeks. They went from staring into a black hole to standing on solid ground again. Can you just imagine the collective sigh of relief in that building? Because what this triage really did was buy the leadership team something way more valuable than money. It bought them breathing room, mental space. For the first time in months, they could actually lift their heads up from just trying to survive day to day and start thinking strategically again. They could start to see a future.
Okay, so the financial fires are out. The company is stable. Now it's time to turn their focus outward. The next big battle, winning back the hearts and minds of their customers. And this slide really says it all. They went from pure firefighting mode to what the advisor called strategic choreography. I love that term. It's not just reacting anymore. It's a carefully planned dance, right? A coordinated effort to reassure every single client that, hey, we're not just surviving here. We're actually building something better and stronger than before. And look, these weren't just empty promises. They backed it up with real, tangible actions. They rolled out a platform so clients could see their shipments in real time. They gave their regional teams the power to make decisions on the spot, no more waiting for HQ. And for their biggest clients, they got a direct line to the executives. This was all about rebuilding trust, brick by brick, one real improvement at a time. But this meant a huge shift in the company's DNA. They had to change how they thought about success. It wasn't about growth at all costs anymore. This new framework shows it perfectly. The new obsession became profit margin, client retention, and customer satisfaction. It was all about smart, sustainable, profitable growth, fueled by clients who were actually happy and wanted to stick around. And did it work? Oh, yeah, it worked. The result of this laser-focused approach was a 30% jump in sales productivity. In just 1 year, 30%. And the best part?
They weren't just winning back any old business. They were winning the right kind of profitable, sustainable business.
But here's the thing about a big turnaround. It's kind of like a tree. You can't just prune the branches and expect it to thrive. You have to strengthen the roots. And for any company, the roots, well, that's the culture.
So you had the old way, right? Which was basically a culture of hierarchy and uncertainty. Imagine working in a place where fear is just hanging in the air like a thick fog. Not great. The new way was a total reset. It was about throwing open the windows and letting in the light of transparency and the fresh air of genuine agility. And this whole cultural revolution rested on 3 really powerful imperatives. Number 1, transparency under pressure. Be honest, especially when it's tough. Number 2, agility over hierarchy. Move fast, don't get bogged down in bureaucracy. And number 3, accountability at every single level. Everyone owns their results. And little by little, this new sense of purpose started to spread throughout the entire company. Okay, so what are the big takeaways here? What can we all learn from this amazing story? Let's zoom out a bit and pull out the universal lessons, the blueprint that can help pretty much anyone navigate a crisis.
Just look at these results after only 18 months. Revenue? It bounced back to $160 million. But the margins? Way higher than they were even before the crisis. And the focus of the whole company shifted from just being big to being resilient. See, this wasn't just a comeback story. This was a total reinvention.
So, lesson number 1 is huge. Narrative control matters. When things go bad, leadership has to show a roadmap, not just a reaction. Your team, your investors, your customers, everyone is looking for a clear story about where you're going. You have to own that narrative. Lesson 2. Operational credibility is everything. It wins back trust way faster than a slick PR campaign ever could. You can't just talk your way out of a crisis. You have to work your way out. You have to prove it with your actions, day in and day out. And lesson 3, maybe the most important of all, culture is the multiplier. An empowered team can accelerate everything. You can have the best plan in the world, but it's just words on a page until your people actually believe in it and execute it. Your culture is the engine that makes the whole thing go.
Because here's the bottom line. Crises don't just test leadership. They reveal it. They strip away everything else and show you what's really there. So the question for all of us is, when our crisis comes, what will it reveal